I'll share with you three stories that tell a story of the garden that realizes its beauty. The first story, I call it the future in the present. We were standing in the forest in a circle with students. They actually invited us to come to their university, to their faculty in the province of Larache. And at the end of our thinking experience, our thinking workshop, one of the students says, Ahmed, says, I am here with you today in the future. And I'm in the future and I'm building the future. I will leave. I'll go back to my present, to the past that brought into being that present. I promise you, I'll come back to the future to build the future with you. That was the students of the faculty, the pluridisciplinary faculty of the province of Larache, the university in Larache, that invited us. Because had they heard students in Tangier having an experience of beauty and sharing it with them. And although they said, we don't understand, but we want to experience, they invited us to their faculty. That circle in that forest grew, widened. And it actually, the university created conditions in the very formal structure. And it took a shape of a curriculum within bachelors, a transversal curriculum. They found it a title. They called it Life and Study Skills. But the title did not matter. What we experienced did. What started as a curriculum took shape and forms under different initiatives that the students created in their university and the different clubs that were blossoming within their campus with their professors. But it did not stay there. Something beautiful happened. It went beyond. Actually, curriculum dissolved. Curriculum dissolved. The walls of the university dissolved. Students went back to their schools, saying, if I would have experienced that when I was young, I would be so different today. They started facilitating in a circle, in their village, in their schools. They started facilitating in their neighborhoods, always a circle, co-reflecting, lived experiences. They went back to their villages. And this is where we understood why in Arabic, actually, we do not conjugate in the future. If we want to speak the future, we add one letter to the verb in the present, the letter S, the letter of salam, of shalom, the letter of peace. But when I invoke the letter of peace to every word, to every verb, I am invoking understanding that does not project me into the future, but brings the future into the present. I'll tell you my second story, the story of the two circles in the land of love. One of the students is called Fatima. She would go to the neighborhoods and facilitate workshops, and to the schools in the city to facilitate workshops with her peers and with us, with our teams. And Fatima one day said, I want you to come to my village. We have challenges. In the village, there's a land. That is a communal land and became a land that created violence. Every year, families would get into conflict, very extreme violence. So the children would go to school, be in the same classroom, leave school, take separate paths, go back to the houses, and the houses were neighboring houses, but they would not talk to each other. When the first workshop happened, I still remember my team member, my colleague and friend, Hafsa, telling me, I could not believe it. The children could not stand in one circle. We had to create two circles. They refused to hold hands. It took 6 months. The children held hands. The two circles became one hand. And I got so moved when we were in a youth forum with youth from different provinces, from different universities coming together to co-reflect how can they co-imagine new possibles in their provinces. She said, the equation changed. The land that used to be the reason of our violence became the land of love. And that takes me to my third story. This process that I'm sharing with you happened in one province, in the province of Larache. Very recently, that province suffered terrible floods. Actually, for the first time in the history of Morocco, a whole city of 150,000 people had to evacuate the town. The village had to evacuate the town. Fatima had to evacuate her town, her village. And what has been learned, the growing shared understanding from the co-reflected lived experiences, the experiencing the meaning of our common, of our shared humanity, find its expression in the midst of a crisis where everyone came together. Everyone came together, these youth, these university students with the youth from the villages, from the youth in the towns, came together to support their communities. This is a third story. It's called The Floods and the Ripples of Wisdom. Yesterday, I was with the education system, and that town got evacuated, and now everyone is back. And I was sitting with the directors, all the directors of the primary schools. And we were reflecting together, how do we create the conditions for the schools to become the gardens, the ecologies of learning and co-flourishing, where the flourishing of everyone is interdependent, co-suscitated with one another. We're witnessing resilience and transcended resilience. In the how, we're going to open the schools. The youth from the villages are going to come, and we're going to co-facilitate workshops in the villages. The distinction between schools and villages, schools and neighborhoods is going to be dissolving. So going back to the question, how can we reimagine higher education? Let's look for it in the present. Let's not project. Let's recognize our schools and our universities and our villages and as gardens where we can learn, and we are the fruit of that learning. Gardens where we grow a shared understanding, and where we stop asking, what do we do? But instead ask, what are we going to live together today? And also gardens where we recognize the beauty of our shared humanity in one another. Then we become the gardener of those gardens. And when we become the gardener of those gardens, we realize that we are also the garden.